Hey man, say man, what it do, still with the camp sound like a little big boss. K-Pole talk boxing. Fuck my soliloquy, maybe tough times don't last. Good people do it on off yourself, caught him in the foul line, maybe you matter. Peep game. 84's on Will Swain. We cluster out, we're talking about that boxing. I told y'all earlier in the week, I said, man, me and Coach B gonna drop a vid soon. Pause. Big pause on that. Um, but before I get into the main entree, the main dish, gotta introduce our second host, future Hall of Famer, coach and legend, brother on the hustle, aka Coach B. Let them know how you doing, man.
Hey, what it is, folks? Long time no talk, you feel me? But it is what it is. Y'all know what it is. We clutched up, we clutched out. Y'all know we're here to talk about it, just like Capo said. But y'all know what I'm finna tell y'all. Ain't nothing changed. Hey, every time God wake you up, he put breath in your body, get up and do what you gotta do. Which means take care of you, take care of the fam. Don't let nobody steer you away from that. But with all that being said, let's get straight to it. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it back to Capo. Go ahead, continue the show, and let's let them know how we flow.
Last but not least, Coach, how do you feel, relative to Tank? Um, there's a narrative out there now that he ain't fought nobody, right? Now there are other people on other networks, other promotional companies that haven't fought anybody either. I'm pretty sure you're gonna name them. But do we need to keep that same energy in boxing for everybody? It just seems like people are picking and choosing. Whatever narrative, if this fighter's not signing them and they're popular, they want to try to do everything to belittle and bash that fighter. But I don't understand why they do it, because if they're not doing what you're asking them to do, or they're not fighting top fighters, then why are you even talking about it? That's just my perspective. But coach, floor is yours. Let the world know how Coach B flow.
Hey, put it like this. I'm not pulling no punches. I'm not holding no punches. We gonna get straight into it. Look, Shakur, Bud, Tank, and the list goes on. These are just some of the fighters I can highlight that y'all can relate to when it comes to talking about what I'm about to say. Tank, he's a brilliant fighter, excellent fighter, IQ, power, possesses the full package. Same thing with Bud. Shakur doesn't possess the full package, but he possesses a quality skill set that's hard to match up with, and it's hard to beat. But at the same time, when we go down the resumes of these fighters, it's going to be questions. I said Tank, I said Shakur, and I said Crawford. I'm not holding, like I said, I'm not pulling no punches when it comes to neither one of these brothers. Their resumes are in question. The quality of their accomplishments are in question simply because their star status and or superstar status does not match up or equate to what their resumes represent. I can say all of these guys have had decent opponents, quality, somewhat B minus, maybe B plus quality opponents, but it just doesn't equate to the bar that y'all have set for these fighters. Shakur Stevenson, y'all give him an A plus bar, but he's only fighting B minus to C plus level opponents. Terrence Crawford, up until Spence and Canelo, again, y'all give him an A plus status, but at the same time, his quality opponents may have been B minus to C plus level. And when I put Tank in there, I still put him in the conversation because y'all give him an A plus status, but his quality opponent have only been B plus to B minus. That's the only thing that gets Tank over the curb. The only thing that gets Terrence over the curb is the simple fact that he's now got a Canelo and an Earl Spence under his belt. What gets Shakur under the curve, over the curve, I said under, I mean over the curve, is the fact that the stats. You go look at the stats. It's hard to beat a Shakur because you can't hit him, and he can win around by throwing 10 punches and landing 8 out of them, or he can win around throwing 20 and landing 18 of them. But yet you throwing 50 to 60 and you only landed 4. So that's what gets Shakur Stevenson over the curve. But I'm not here to bash either one of these boxers. These are just examples that I can relate to y'all with. I said that. This is just a relation. But at the same time, when you go back and look at the bar that you set for these fighters and how much y'all praise them and how much we think they've accomplished, if you go back and look at the body of work at the time frame that they fought certain fighters, at what point did they fight certain fighters, when did they move into these divisions, who left the division, who came into the division, all this stuff matters when you're looking at a true quality champion. True quality champion. Remember, there's going to be always there's going to be a lot of champions. We're in a four belt era, excuse me. So the quantity of champions is always going to be there. But if you look at the quality of the resumes and the guys that they beat at the time frame of who was available in these divisions, it gives you question marks. And like I said, I'm not pulling no punches. But in my opinion, if I go down the resumes, if I pick Terrence, if I pick Shakur, and I pick Tank, I say Tank has matched up better with most of his opponents than you can say of Crawford or Shakur Stevenson. Because Crawford is a very gifted boxer. Shakur is a very gifted boxer. Talented boxer for Shakur and Crawford. IQ for Shakur and Crawford. Athleticism for Shakur and Crawford. But at the same time, when you go back and read those names on their resume, it's like, who did you match up with that had equal athleticism? Who did you match up that had equal IQ? Who did you match up with that had equal power? Who did you match up with that had the same caliber of defense? Who did you match up with the same caliber of hand speed? Who did you match up with, et cetera, et cetera? But when you go down Tank's list, there's some risk in there. Tank really... he has some risky fights. I'm not going to sit here and name all of them, but with that Rolly fight, if you're really into boxing, it was a risk, but it was a calculated risk. Tank was in trouble most of that fight until he landed a couple significant shots. And I'm being honest, that Rolly fight I was looking at it, I'm like, man, Tank, you might be in a little trouble if you keep letting Rolly hang around. Because Rolly wasn't playing. Rolly was trying to off Tank. And Tank knew it himself. That fight, if you go back and watch it, that was a little dangerous. That was a risk for Tank. With the Ryan fight, until he started landing certain punches and doing certain things, that was a calculated risk. And calculated risk could be troublesome for some fighters. When you go back and look at the Isak Pitbull Cruz fight, he knew nothing about him, but Cruz came in there with the mentality of, I don't give a shit, excuse my French, who you are. This is my opportunity, and I'm finna knock you out. And in that fight, I would say it was a couple rounds where it got a little blurry for Tank. Tank did what he had to do, but it got a little blurry. Y'all not going to ride with me because I'm speaking from a true boxing fan perspective, from a true coaching perspective. I see if Tank was my fighter, I'd be like, ooh, this is risky. I don't like the way this is looking right now. But Tank, he's going to surprise you. He always going to have a little extra trick up his sleeve to make sure we come out with the dub. But at the same time, when you go back and look at Shakur Crawford's list, it's like, I expected you. We also expected that. We all knew that. When it comes to Shakur, it's like, you should have beat all these guys. But then you go down Crawford, you got the Spence fight. Oh, okay. But then you look at the timing, what happened to Spence, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not throwing excuses, but it's like, maybe, yeah, okay. You did what you had to do with a guy that was battered and bruised. When you look at the Canelo situation, we said it before, years before this fight took place. It's not the same Canelo. He's stuck in quicksand. He's throwing single power shots. He doesn't have the same defense. He's not even feinting. He's not jabbing. We've been saying this before the Canelo fight. So again, those question marks arise. Like, did he fight a top-notch Canelo? And there's other things behind that. They both saying they was injured, but I don't care. If I'm Terrence Crawford, Canelo was injured, Like I say, that's you. You shouldn't have took the fight if you was injured. But then Crawford backdoors and says, I'm injured too. Like, bro, that's not what you do. What we do is what we do. In-house, if we injured, you want to go fight this fight, there is no injury. If you know you got a torn rotator cuff and you still accept this fight, guess what? Me as your trainer, hey, bro, you should have told me about this. I didn't know nothing about this. So guess what? We've been training for 5-6 weeks. Guess what? You got 2 more before we fight. You finna finish this. And we'll deal with this 3-4 years down the road. We can talk about this in the interview 3-4 years down the road. Hey, I got a torn rotator cuff, but at the same time, that's my fault. We lost the fight to Crawford. But for Crawford to retaliate and say, yeah, I was injured too, come on now, bro. What does that say about you? Enough said about that situation. But at the same time, when you look at these resumes and you sit here and say Tank hasn't had, a tough career. Maybe he hasn't, in my opinion, he hasn't had the toughest of the toughest career, but he's took some calculated risks. When we look at Shakur and Bud, what risk have they really taken? And if you want to debate about it, you can get in the comment section. Pretty soon we're going to be able to go live, so y'all going to catch us live on here. K-Pro, what you got to say about what I said or just present any subject towards the topic you presented to us?
Man, I don't really have nothing else to say, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, Coach, you on fire today. Me and Coach don't always agree on everything, but for the most part, like I told you, we be around the same ballpark. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to this boxing, we really, truly are passionate about this, man. So I just want y'all to understand that, like, me and Coach B ain't in agreement with each other all the time. You know what I mean? But like I said, dude on fire today, Coach. I ain't got nothing else to say, man. You put your chef hat on. You came prepared, locked, loaded, ready to go. Ain't no safety on your Glock today. So if you want to close it out, you can go ahead and do your thing, man.
Hey, what it is, folks, we done talked about some of everything up under the sun, the moon, however, whatever side of the world you're on today. Tonight, however you want to put it. We can talk about Tank. We can talk about Shakur. We can talk about Bud. We can talk about the landscape of boxing. We can talk about TKO and Dana White. We can talk about Pitbull Cruz, Lamont Roach. What does it do for them too? How does it look? What they should forget, remember, move on from. How do they should look in the future, et cetera, et cetera. But with all that being said, hey, we just want y'all to continue to roll with the punches with us. It's still the beginning, like Capo would say. It's still the genesis, like Capo would say. Be on the lookout, because we do have new things coming. We ain't got to tell you everything. We ain't got to show you everything. Sometimes surprise is better than, just and talking about what you're going to do and what you want to do. Sometimes the surprise is the best thing to do. It'll show people the evolution of what you started from. But with that being said, continue to comment, continue to subscribe, share, like, comment, debate, hate, congratulate, however you want to do it. Me and K-Po, we not letting up. We not going to quit. Again, keep tuning in from around the world. We respect y'all fully 100%, especially if you're coming from around the world, because you might not even be able to understand us in English, but you find some way to translate what we say, and you get back to us, and we translate what you say, and we answer the questions in the comment section. So again, we appreciate the love. Continue to stick with us. Hey, and like we say, we clutched up, we clutched that. That's Boss. I'm Coach, and we up out of here.
Salute, man.